All right, this is the CSRN podcast weekend review. What we're going to do right now is put up our intro clip that gives everyone an opportunity to share, comment, like the podcast. So, Jody, hey, we'll be right back.
Yep.
I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare. Now, the other thing that we've got to come to see now that many of us didn't see too well during the last 10 years, that is that racism
not guilty
is still alive in American society and much more widespread.
Broke his neck after Baltimore police.
A handful of protesters, a handful of criminals and thugs who...
Many in moments of anger, many in moments of deep bitterness, engage in riots. And as long as America postpones justice, we stand in the position of having these recurrences of violence and riots over and over again. Social justice and progress are the absolute guarantors of riot prevention.
Mr. Gray's death was a homicide.
The Negro was freed from the bondage of physical slavery.
The athletes marched onto a stage.
But at the same time, the nation refused to give him land to make that freedom meaningful. Freedom without land to cultivate. Freedom and famine at the same time.
And create jobs for our people.
The Negro is to be free. He must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful. Individually, we are poor when you compare us with white society in America. We are poor. Collectively, we are richer than all the nations in the world with the exception of 9. That's power right there if we know how to prove it. We begin the process of building a greater economic base. And at the same time, we are putting pressure where it really hurts. We don't have to argue with anybody. We just need to go around to these stores and to these massive industries in our country. Say, God sent us by here to say to you that you're not treating his children right. We come by here to ask you to make the first item on your agenda fair treatment where God's children are concerned. Now, if you're not prepared to do that, we do have an agenda that we must follow. Our agenda calls for withdrawing economic support from you. We mean business now, and we are determined to gain our rightful place in God's world.
All right, we are back. This is the CSRN podcast or weekend review where we come to you live every Tuesday. Live, we stream from Mott Branch Library. So shout out to everybody that's at Mott Branch Library, always rolling out the red carpet for us. Let's start with some intros, Jody. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad. I use the pronouns he and him. I'm one of the co-founders of CSRN, along with being a registered and active member of the Nation of Islam here in Toledo. Yeah, thank you, Jody. 8 years ago, we had an idea. Well, Mike Leonardi and Jabril Bey had an idea that just ordinary people could speak truth to power. They didn't have to be pastors, professionals, politicians, or preachers. Just be some regular people with some facts and a bullhorn. And they brought me in later on to help organize an event at Frederick Douglass. We're going to be talking about the Doug today too, and a lot of good stuff is happening there. And here we are, 8 years. We're going on 9 years now.
Going on 9 years.
Organizing like this. Jody always says, I'm boss, but you can always give a donation. But anyway, and what am I rocking today? I've got on my CSRN shirt. It says, All Black Lives Matter, Justice or Else. I got my black hat, my brown rim glasses. I got my beads on today. All right,
so got some new beads on.
Hey, I'm kind of matching today. And as always, I'm dedicated to respecting, protecting, and defending all black bodies, no matter the cost, no matter the gains or loss. This is the home of Black Lives Matter and Justice or Else. And Jody, I think that I've given everything that I could give today. Who are you? What do you got on?
What's up, everybody? Jody J. Summers, child of the system, better known as Spoken Truth. Made it back from Canada. I'm just going to say that. Start
Okay, all right.
Niagara Falls was beautiful, great tourist spot and all that good stuff, but it's happy to be back on American soil where the money is green, and I can expect, I guess not to be looked at or thought of, because when I went up there, I was, you see the stuff that I wear.
Okay.
But for all of you out there listening that might be listening on Spotify or YouTube or Facebook Live, because if you're driving, we know it's around that time where you get off. We don't want you looking at your screen. I think they just passed a new law in Ohio about that. So make sure you're listening in and stuff like that.
Hey, they got to catch me. All right. Yeah, catch me
Hey, that's
first.
my whole motto on life.
I'll be texting and driving anyway.
Yeah,
not that much.
That's my whole motto on life, except sometimes I take pictures of me doing the crime. But yeah, for those of you out there listening, I am a big brown bear of a man that is covered in tattoos and crystals and bones and stones and all kinds of stuff from traveling, being an independent, unbought creator or creative. It depends on which genre you find me in.
All right.
Right now, today, I'm wearing, all of the regalia buttons and stuff from around the city. My own artwork is my clothing, the wristbands that remind me of how many things I've done in this year. And y'all can't see it too well. You'll see it at my open mic on Thursday. But my sister got me an awesome shirt that says Dope Black Author. Just so awesome. She finds the best shirts and stuff like that.
Hey, where's your show?
Huh?
You got a show coming up?
Yeah, Thursday. But we'll talk about that now.
Oh, okay. All right.
Stuff like that. Shout out K Renee and Mr. Unknown, who hasn't been in the city in 4 years or so.
In a minute.
Yeah, but we'll be talking about that. That's coming up this Thursday.
All right. Hey, listen, let's get to our mission statement. I'm going to follow up with the guiding principles. And after the mission statement, we need to hear your Black Lives Matter moment. We've been doing this. We've had a lot of protests, political forums, scholarship things, Black Lives Matter awards,
soon to be passport program.
Right. So pick out something that's really made, kind of made an impact.
So for those of you out there listening that might be starting a nonprofit, a business, an organization, or you just want to go adult painting and make some money off of it, you always have to have a foundation or some ground rules, I guess you could say. Things that I guess you could say they're like your Bible, because in this type of work, he said we're about to be 9 years old. You get all kinds of distractions and people that have their own agendas or what they would like you to do. But since you already have something to do, they're going to try and scoot their way in. So these are kind of like our laws, our bylaws. If you're a political person like me, you have bylaws that you have to go by, things that you don't break. Watching news, see things are broken, but this is what they are. So our mission statement. We are the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo, formed on November 25th, 2014, the day after it was announced that the killer, a Ferguson, Missouri police officer, of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager, would not be indicted. We bring awareness to the injustices experienced by Black men, women, and children who are disproportionately murdered, attacked, provoked, and harassed by law enforcement. Police brutality has to end. We bring awareness to the fact that most often police brutality goes without consequence or accountability. Police impunity has to end. We utilize the tactics of protest, civil disobedience, event disruption, and citizen advocacy to give voice to those who are otherwise voiceless. We facilitate progressive, community-based events that help foster self-development, and we discuss measures to hold local leadership accountable, yes, accountable, to their sworn duties, be they politician, clergy, law enforcement, educators, etc., etc. We want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally to all, yes, all, regardless of class, creed, or color. For all lives to matter, Black lives, yes, Black lives must matter. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
All right. Before we do our guiding principles and take a short break, what would be your Black Lives Matter moment of all the things that we've done? If you could pick one.
I know there's so many, but I think I'm going to go with the one where even before 2020 and all that stuff where everybody was like, oh, it's real, y'all ain't crazy people on the corner, was the picture I'm looking for. If you were in studio, we got actually some guests in the studio of us interrupting the MLK Day celebration because we believed it was too gentrified. And we came out there. They actually, even to this day, they probably still think we were part of the program.
Right.
But we came out there.
We were.
Oh,
all right. We inserted ourselves. All right.
True. And that's what protesting and demonstration is about.
Yeah.
The next year, they actually brought us back as the honorary protesters with Cori Bush, who's now,
I think she's a congresswoman.
yes, she is.
Right.
At the time, she
was
was
testing me live. Don't be testing me like that. All right.
But at the time, she was just
good.
like us, just another protester in the streets that decided she wanted to do more. She had a voice. She had a vision for what she wanted her future to look like. And 8 years, 9 years almost, kind of, that's what we continue to do.
That's what's up. Hey, listen, these are our guiding principles. After you have an organization and you put together your mission statement, which is who you are, how do you conduct yourself and treat the people that are around you so that we don't implode? So these are our guiding principles. All Black lives matter, queer Black lives, trans Black lives, formerly and presently incarcerated Black lives, poor working class Black lives, wealthy Black lives, differently able Black lives, Black men and women lives, immigrant Black lives, Black elderly and children lives. All Black lives matter and are the creators of this space. We throw no one under the bus. We rise together. Ashe?
Ashe.
And Ashe means one who changes a thing or one who makes a thing happen. Hey, can the people in the studio?
Yeah, they can say, they can hear y'all. Y'all can speak up Ashe if you want to.
All right. Thriving instead of surviving. Our vision is based on the world we want, not the one we're currently in. We seek to transform, not simply react. We want our people to thrive, not just exist. Think beyond the possible. Ashe?
Ashe.
Experimentation and innovation must be built into our work. Embrace the best tools, practices, and tactics and leave those behind that no longer serve us. Ashe?
Ashe.
Evaluation and assessment must be built into our culture. Critical reflection must be a part of our work. We learn from our mistakes and our victories. Ashe?
Ashe.
Principled struggle can exist in a positive environment. We must be honest with one another by embracing direct, loving communication. Ashe?
Ashe.
Love, self-love is practiced in every element of all we do. Love and self-love must be a driver of our work and an indicator of our success. Without this principle and without healing, we will harm each other and undermine our movement. Ashe?
Ashe.
360-degree vision. We honor past struggles and wisdom from elders. The work we do today builds the foundations of movements of tomorrow. We consider our mark on future generations. Ashe?
Ashe.
Self-care means we build resilient spaces by budgeting time, energy, and resources for healing. Self-care is a regular, consistent, intentional, and essential practice. Ashe?
Ashe.
The most directly affected people are experts at their own lives and should be in leadership at the center of our movement and telling their stories directly. Ashe?
Ashe.
Training and leadership development should be fundamental. Our movement must constantly grow and leadership must constantly multiply. Ashe?
Ashe.
All right, before we take a short break, we talk about leadership must multiply. We've got a young leader that we're going to talk to later on, Brother Rashid, who helped to manage me for the Kwanzaa program.
Yeah,
I'm not easily managed, but he was on it. So listen, my Black Lives Matter moment was our scholarship program. And what we wanted to make people be known that just because you're in college doesn't mean that you've made it.
Than you thought.
Right. I had two sons that were in college, and that's when they needed us the most. So what we did, we issued a challenge to do an essay, what does Black Lives Matter mean to you? And we asked some of the young people at BG, University of Toledo, and some of the other schools locally, and we had 3 winners. And first prize was $1,000, second prize was $500, third prize was $200 or $250. So it was hard collecting that money, but we did it. Yeah. And that was really proud for me because I think that sometimes people see us speaking truth to power and they might say, okay, here they come again. No, we got other stuff that we do too. So that was my my moment. Hey, listen, let's take a short break. We're going to come back.
We got a special guest in the house.
Man, all right.
Where you can go actually see this in person.
Oh, absolutely. Got our Bisa Butler right here. You know, we name dropping because that's exactly what we do. This is the CSRN podcast or a weekend review. We'll be right back.
Did you know addiction is a disease, not a moral dilemma? The opioid epidemic and substance use have a major impact on communities of color and many people's lives. Wasion Wellness Recovery Support Center offers culturally relevant inpatient and outpatient behavioral health treatment and recovery support services to any Ohioan struggling with addiction, mental health, or finding sober safe housing. We must recognize that treatment is available and accessible to all. If you are in need of treatment or want to find out more information, you can call 1-888-728-2713 to talk to someone or schedule an appointment.
The museum, I thought, was like a magical place as a little girl. Like, it was overwhelming to me, but yet so accessible. I felt very comfortable there. But I know that everyone doesn't have that. You know, I came from educated parents, young, challenging the system, parents who felt it their duty to expose me to art. And that's why I am so proud to work for an institution that really wants to normalize a sense of belonging. And that means all of us, because a lot of people immediately jump to race when we talk about nurturing a culture of belonging. It's elderly, it's veterans, it's anyone who has traditionally been on the margins or ignored or forgotten about. We look at belonging as like an action word, a verb. You know, we want to change and implement a structure that welcomes everyone, but also gives people, when they cross the threshold, a sense of true belonging. But just a few years back, walking through the museum, you may not see yourself represented, or your heritage, or your culture, or your religion, your gender, whatever it may be, you may not see yourself represented. And now, in this short period of time, the galleries have changed. The intent has changed. Now, people can see themselves represented. And I just think the museum is that crown jewel on Monroe Street that is saying, come on in, learn from us. We may not always get it right, but we're going to try with intent and honesty to get it right and to represent you. I think this museum can do all of those things, and I think we are already on the journey of doing them and doing them very well.
All right, we are back. This is the CSRN, our weekly podcast or weekend review, whatever Jody has us calling it. And to my left or to my right, or however you're looking at this, we have this thing that we do at CSRN when whoever the guest is, they're going to introduce themselves. What are they wearing and what are they representing today? So, man, who are you?
Oh, wow. I love that question. So I am Rhonda Sewell, and I am the inaugural Director of Belonging and Community Engagement for the Toledo Museum of Art.
Man.
And you talk about what I'm wearing. So
Yeah.
a lot of people know my past history as a fashion editor for 10 years
Okay.
for the Toledo Blade. So I'm really big into fashion.
Okay, that's
Very
awesome.
big into fashion. And just came back from the Chanel boutique in Chicago. Not wearing any Chanel.
Okay, I was like, okay.
Because I can't afford Chanel,
Okay.
the
We
real
need-
Chanel. But I'm just being me today.
That's
I'm
awesome.
being me today. And I love that you incorporate self-care into, self-care is really big with me, into your mantra and in the opening statement, your mission, your values,
Right.
your core beliefs. Audre Lorde once said that self-care is not really self-indulgence. It's self-preservation.
That's right.
And that is an act of political warfare.
That's right.
That's how serious self-care is.
Right.
So that's what I'm all about.
That's
and
beautiful.
That's who I am.
And we added that because being a part of protest culture or the activist community, we got to show back up next week. So we can't cash it all in today. So we have to find some space to kind of turn it off, have a healthy disconnect, reassess things, because we're not going to cure it all today. All right. So that we can come back the next week. All right. Enough about that. You talked about this inaugural position at the art museum. What is that position? What is it all about? And how did they find you? How did y'all overlook me? All right. Y'all knew I wasn't working. So how did that come about?
So prior to me joining the art museum, I was 15 years as the director of governmental affairs for the Toledo Lucas County Public Library System.
Okay.
We're at the wonderful Mott branch.
Right.
I was part of the team that helped to, start the Mott branch here, the new Mott branch. And then prior to that, I was 18 years as a journalist at the Blade newspaper. Right. But I've done a lot of other things as well, from really being steeped in diversity and inclusion before it became fashionable.
Right.
I've been an adjunct instructor at Bowling Green State University from 1992 to 2012.
Oh, man. Okay.
Was a DJ.
Hey, we didn't have all that. We didn't have all that.
Juice. Like
I didn't have all of that in my notes
that's
here.
okay. I've
That's
done a lot of things. I did a show on Channel 30 at one time called Thursday Night. It was a live show for several years. So I always had a moonlighting job, always. But a lot of people know me as someone who's been community minded. I call it community centric.
Okay.
I have always led by the community. I was raised by a single mom who always said that you must put back into the community how they raised you. They helped to raise you, the community did. So you've got to put all that energy back into the community. And I took that sort of directive from my mother very seriously.
I just wrote that down,
Yeah.
community centric.
Yeah.
Add that into our
Yes,
lexicon of
yes,
things that we say.
definitely,
Okay,
definitely.
that's what's up.
And so the current administration, which is a new administration at the Toledo Museum of Art, which, by the way, was founded in the 1900s. The Toledo Museum of Art is, a lot of people may not know, Brother Muhammad, is in the top 8 of all museums in the country.
Oh, wow.
In the top 8 for
Okay,
its
Toledo.
amount of collection.
Okay.
So we get visitors from all around the world every day to the Toledo Museum of Art because people know of its reputation outside of the walls of Toledo.
I would have
city.
never known that.
Yes,
I would
yes,
have only
for
thought
sure,
that the
for
only people
sure.
that go to the
Yes.
TMA
Yeah.
is just
The
high school
local,
kids.
no,
and
no,
Oh, wow.
no, not
Okay.
at all.
All right.
And I wanted to give you that context and background to tell you a little bit about who I am as a person. I've always been a justice seeker, always been, as I said before, community centric,
Right.
really caring about who
awesome.
the community is. So I was actually invited to apply to this position. It's an inaugural position that the current director created because of all of the aftermath of George Floyd,
Right.
of the protests, of everything that was going on, not just in our country, but internationally. It was going on. People were seeing the outcries of the injustices of what was going on locally, but also it was going on in Europe. It was going on
Right.
in other parts of the world as well. So it was really a mission to operationalize diversity, equity, inclusion, and also in the museum field, we add access because a lot of people don't look at socioeconomic lack of access,
Right.
and also persons with disabilities as an injustice when buildings
Okay.
are not ADA compliant.
Right.
You know, how is a person maybe in a wheelchair going to manipulate this neoclassical museum
Right.
when they can't even get in or
Yeah.
get access? So we always add access as one of those diversity
That's good.
inclusion matters. So that is how I was hired. I was invited to apply. And I figured if the director called me and invited me to apply, I pretty much have a good
Okay,
chance
that's
at
true.
this new
That's true.
position. So I read the job description, and I'm going to tell you, it was everything that I am as a person, all my beliefs, all my core values. And even though I've had amazing jobs in the past, I've never seen a job description kind of define who I was and my principles, not just the mission of the organization,
Right.
but who I was as a person. And I said, this is me. Did they write this for me? And they did not.
No,
They
you
did not.
say that
But-
we before we brought you on,
Yeah.
we played the short clip of your talk regarding this new department.
Right.
And you said, "Hey, look, I was just talking. They didn't give me a script. I didn't have a script or anything.
I did not.
And it felt natural. And I would call you on and say, "Hey, Rhonda, come on now. You know,
Yeah.
that's so. What's your day-to-day like? You know, it sounds like a dream job. I don't know what that's like. All right.
Yeah.
What's your day-to-day like for a dream job like this?
Well, I wear many hats. So part of my job, my main job, is operationalizing diversity, equity, inclusion, and access
Okay.
for the museum. So my first charge, and I've only been at the museum 2 years. It'll be 2 years.
Okay.
Well, it is 2 years this month. On April 21st will be my 2-year anniversary. So I was charged with writing a plan of action because you have to have a plan.
I was going to ask you about that.
You have to have a
Yeah.
plan. There was no policy, no procedures, no anything for diversity and inclusion at the museum prior to me coming. So I think they had some goals in their strategic plan from a past administration, but nothing really concrete where every department would be affected and the visitors, so internal and external. So I created, I invited people from every single department, from facilities to the guards to HR to every department to join me in what I called a belonging committee. And we were charged with writing a plan of action that would be a fluid document that would be scrutinized by not only the board, but also by the community every year to make sure that principles, guiding principles of diversity, equity, inclusion, access were administered by our organization in a way that we could measure, that we could feel, that we could see, and that all of our strategic plans were incorporated into that plan. So that is part of my main job, is executing this belonging plan.
Now that brings up the advent of diversity, inclusion, and equity. That's a big thing that I'm seeing with a lot of businesses, corporations, and of the like. How were you received? Because this is something that never was, but now it is. How were you received? And the question after that is, after you, does the next director follow your blueprint? So how were you received?
So in my case, I have spent a lifetime developing a reputation of being very authentic. So what you see is what you get. I'm not the kind of person that's going to come in and engage in window dressing for your organization. So many people in leadership power know that about me. They know that I'm going to question you on your board if I'm serving on your board. If I have a seat at the table and it is something that's not serving my people or serving the greater community, I'm going to call you on it. So people are very, I'm one of those people that is engaged in a lot of positive things, but people who really know me know that I'm no joke when it comes to business.
That's beautiful.
The business side. So they knew what they were getting. They knew that they were getting someone very authentic and reputable. So I was going to not only operationalize belonging, the concept of belonging, which we can get into, but I was also going to do it in a way that we could measure it and that we could address it on an annual basis. I didn't want a plan for diversity and inclusion to sit on some virtual shelf. You know, a lot of organizations after George Floyd made statements, and because they felt obligated to make a statement, and that's okay. But it's like, how are you going to right the wrongs that we saw that, imploded because of protests, because of the light that was, shown on all of our organizations, that there was an unequal balance of power. And so that is basically, I was very well received. I presented the belonging plan. It took a year to write and to compose. It is, I wanted it to be very transparent. So you can go to ToledoMuseum.org and Google belonging plan, and you can find it right there. You can read it. It's about a 28-page document. And that's the first iteration of the plan. And I'm going to tell you, we have a heavy CEO board for the Toledo Museum of Art. It passed unanimously.
Oh, that's awesome.
It passed unanimously. They understand that the time is now for change.
Well, okay, because I was that was one of the things that I was concerned with, because everybody has to vote on it. Everybody has to agree. And my next thing is, so what happens with the next director? And I don't know if it's too early to talk about this, but is this the blueprint now for something that wasn't here a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I think that is a most excellent question because just as you said, people in who are in justice seekers like you, myself, and others, the self-care is really serious. So in the diversity field, we talk about people in these types of roles should not be in the role more than 5 years just because of the self-care.
Okay.
So we talk about that seriously. That doesn't mean that you cease from being a justice
Right.
seeker or you cease from advocating for diversity and inclusion. What it says is that bring somebody else up. Bring somebody else up, pass the baton to someone else new in the diversity field. So that's what I spend a lot of
That's
my
awesome.
time on doing is people will just come up to me and say, I'm in the diversity field over at Owens Corning. I'm in the diversity field over at ProMedica. Can you be my mentor? And I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
yes, I can, because I want to show them the path. Now, as the inaugural person, I get to shape my own way.
Right.
And I would hope that what I've left for someone who takes, takes the
Right.
baton
Right.
after me, that they will take a little bit of my wisdom and intellectual knowledge and institutional knowledge, but mix it with their own sauce and their own flavor.
You know, Rhonda, I did not have to talk on this interview. I could just put my iPad down and all right. Now, before you go, I had no idea until I followed your career from the Blade. I think we used to read you. I don't know if it was the Peach section, but
I was all over that
right,
paper.
right. The Blade, the library. However, I never knew about the spoken word until I started seeing the what is that segment called? The Love Jones Redux. Okay, all right. So watching
You are.
I'm
I'm impressed.
and
I'm
I'm like,
impressed.
is she a poet? Does she do? But I always saw you as just being the that professional. All right, that's all I've known you. All right, I've attend things that you attend. I think that there was something that you were ahead of, and I was just like, wow, she's really smart. But I had no idea that you had another life.
Yeah.
So, if you can, before we go, how did you find spoken word? And do you write your things down? Do you have anything memorized? And when is the next event?
So this is an interesting question because I was raised by young parents.
Okay.
And so my young parents were very active in the civil rights movement. So it wasn't like there was like Dr. Seuss
Right.
and
okay.
all of that in the house. It was Nikki Giovanni and Amiri Baraka and Sonia Sanchez and Hakeem Matabuti, and it was all of those
That's awesome.
black authors in my home. That's all I knew. So that's what I grew up with, Black literature. I am like if you come to my house now, it looks like a library. Every room is filled with Black literature. So my mom, instead of a bedtime story, she would read me Nikki Giovanni's My House. And I didn't understand what the heck was going on at age 5,
That's
but
awesome.
it was poetic and it was beautiful. And I became obsessed with these poets. And so I ended up being a journalism major, but I always took honors English. I think I excelled in all of that because my mom read to me.
That's right.
From day one, right? Even in the womb, she was
That's
reading
awesome.
poetry to me. And a lot of it was spoken word. So that's how I got involved. And then I started hosting spoken word back when Jim Jackson had Jackson's Lounge.
Right.
And then when Glenn Johnson and his family took over and changed it to Our Brother's Place,
Right.
I did that. And then I've been asked by Will and Angela Lucas of Toll House to occasionally, they wanted me to host all the time, but because I'm so community centric, I don't have the capacity to do it. But every once in a while I came up with the inaugural title of Love Jones Redux, because last year was the 25th anniversary of the film Love Jones.
Okay.
And so I think my next one is in May. I don't have the date yet, but stay tuned to tollhouse.org. But I'll be hosting that. And I think that my famous, I have original pieces, but I think the one that I'm most known for is not an original piece. It's just a segment of a 1970s poem by Toledo poet Mari Evans. Mari Evans always talked about, I am a Black woman, tall as a cypress. I am beyond all definition. I'm still defying place and time and circumstance, assailed, impervious, and indestructible. Look upon me and be renewed. And I say that all the time, even when I'm doing a toast.
Oh, we forgot to snap.
Yeah,
our
you got to
fingers.
snap. You don't. You snap. You don't clap.
All right, that's right.
But I always say that excerpt from Mari Evans because it is so powerful, especially for Black women.
That's right.
Because we don't get the shine maybe that you would think. So yeah, I love that piece. But that's how I got into spoken word.
Now, would you be willing to come back at another time and when it's close to the next Love Jones, would you be willing to come back? And
I would love to
talk about it. Maybe even get me to come out, Jody. All right, I don't get a chance to get out the house often.
Jody has been a feature at many of the poetry nights, and he is amazing.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we're going to play our Sister Avis Files, Brothers and Sisters United clip? If anyone wants to contact you or find out about what's happening at the Art Museum, how would they do that?
So you would visit ToledoMuseum.org. I'm part of the senior leadership team. So it'll have meet the team and it has our pictures on there and all of that. There's only about 8 of us. And I just want to encourage people. A lot of people haven't visited the museum since they may have gone on a field trip. I just want to encourage people to visit the museum and to kill the myth that it costs a lot to go there. It's always free. There is no charge to come to the museum. So to come to the museum and just quickly, if I have time, Frederick Douglass here by artist Bisa Butler. This is a textile piece by the famous young Black female artist Bisa Butler of the legendary abolitionist and social reformer Frederick Douglass. And the name, I mean, he's fly, right? But the name of this is called The Storm, the Whirlwind, and the Earthquake. And that is based off of Frederick Douglass's speech that he did on July 5th in 1852. It was about slavery and why we should be celebrating July 4th. We had no right to be celebrating July 4th because he said the hypocrisy of America celebrating July 4th and freedom when slavery was still a reality in 1852. It was one of his most legendary speeches. So Bisa Butler decided to put him in West African garb. Some of it is Dutch because of colonization. And this bird right here is called the speed bird. You'll see it a lot in West Africa as a symbol of freedom. So there's a lot going on here. And I am so proud of the Toledo Museum of Art because we actually acquired an original piece. So this piece is owned by the Toledo Museum of Art. So that's what I want to say. That's the change that is happening.
That's beautiful. Yeah. That's beautiful. And we reached out to our sister Bisa Butler. Right now she's really busy, but they said, hey, if we free, all right, we'll come on. She's
an amazing person and a friend to many of our curators at the museum. And of course, she's our friend because we acquired one of her pieces.
Right.
We bought one of her original pieces.
That's right.
But yeah, we'll definitely have her at some point to visit Toledo.
All right, Rhonda, thank you for coming. Hey, listen, family, this is the CSRN, our podcast or weekend review. We'll be right back.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
All right, we are back, and yes, the cough is out. This is the CSRN podcast or our week in review. Before we move forward, just want to thank our sister Rhonda Sewell, coming from the representing the Toledo Museum of Art. I don't know why I'm going to say the Toledo Public Library, but hey, she worked for the library too. She worked for great work that she's doing. Also, with the picture we've got right here from Bisa Butler, you can check it out at the Toledo Museum of Art. And as she says, look, it's free. Just go there. It's free. All right. I know you wonder, man. No, it's not Jody. All right, Jody. He didn't magically just get better looking. All right, it don't go down like that. As we do a CSRN, who are you? Hey, what are you wearing? That's all right. I see you. All right, I see you. I see you. And what are we representing today?
My name is Sim White. I guess I'm wearing Nike, just regular old get out of the house fit. And today we are representing ATG Semi Pro League. ATG stands for All Together.
All right, all together. All right. At CSRN, we love to talk about the origin story. All right. We know that ATG did not come out of thin air. How did the name come about? And what was the process of thinking about this and actually having a real semi-pro league? How did that happen?
So maybe 4 to 5 years ago, I had my first just like charity event.
Okay.
Like just bring the community together to try to do something. And the best way I feel like I know how to do that is basketball.
Okay.
It's competitive, but at the same time, it still brings us together in some type of way, shape, or form.
All right.
So I did that, like I said, probably 4 years ago, and then I took a break on it. And the beginning of the year, well, yeah, I want to say the beginning of the year or last year, but December 18th, I had another charity event around Christmas time to give toys to the kids,
Right.
and books or whatever we could give to the kids and have like an all-star game. And ever since then, people was asking me like, you should do
yeah. You got something here.
Together. Yeah, and last year I actually our Toledo professional men's basketball team. So I kind of had it in the back of my head.
Okay.
And I knew what it took to kind of put it together. And I just started working from there. We had another small event after that, maybe a month later, just to see what we could do.
Right.
That turned out to be great. We had a hot chip challenge that was funny.
A hot chip.
A hot chip.
I never heard of that. What's the hot chip challenge?
So, maybe around Corona, they came out with these hot chips that come out.
Oh, I saw. Okay, all right.
They look like a little casket
Right.
chip thing. I guess they green or blue or black or whatever color them chips is. They probably the hottest thing ever.
Did you have one?
I didn't do it.
Okay.
We have somebody here that did try it.
That's in the studio?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
That's
what's
I
up.
did not try it. I was playing that day. We did it at halftime as like a fun thing, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Just to show the people what we can do. And it turned out great. So after that, we just started shooting for the league, and maybe 5 weeks in, we here.
Man, all right. So all together, do you also function as a coach?
Yes.
Also? All right. How did that happen? I love talking to coaches. Everybody, and I realize everybody that's a good player doesn't necessarily make a good coach.
Right.
When did you find out that you could coach? How did that happen for you?
To be honest, it probably happened 2 years ago, maybe 3. I was a baseball coach for kids from 9 to 11 at the Toledo Believe Center.
Okay.
And
that's Tanya.
Yes.
Tanya Duran.
Tanya, yes.
All right.
And since then, it seemed like she threw me in and I caught my niche, and that was just with the kids.
Yeah.
And I seen what I could do with the kids and seeing how passionate they was.
Right.
But not saying that wasn't my mission. I just felt like it was more for me to go grab.
Okay.
And I felt like it was a bigger audience that I needed to get to. So that's kind of what made me go the next level of dealing with the 18 and older group. And trust me, it is not easy.
Oh, I was going to ask you, what is that transition like working from at the Believe Center? You were working with, was it 6 to 12?
9 to 11.
9 through 11. All right. What was that leap, that intelligence leap, that skill leap from 9 to 11 to the older ones?
The skill leap is definitely what we can talk about, but the intelligence leap, I might have had some of my 11-year-olds readier than some of my 20-year-olds right
what's
now.
Up.
But for me, it was a change. It was a change of integrity. It was a challenge. Just to know that I'm not the only one that might have to go to work in the morning or got kids at home, or just might have a struggle. Because to be honest, those kids had no struggle but homework. That was the only struggle they had or they talked about. So, but now sometimes hearing some of these conversations or just knowing the guys that I'm dealing with, it make me take a back seat and actually look at life different, because it's not just based on me. So it's a big leap. It's definitely a big leap.
All right. You talked about patience. How does patience play into what you're doing? And you're talking about coaching, older people that have things going on.
Right,
all right.
right.
Their whole life, they've got a whole life going on.
Yeah.
What type of patience do you have to do what you do?
You have to have a lot of patience. I'm still actually gaining some of the patience that I need. It's a battle, but like you told me earlier off air, if you still lifting the same 35 pounds a day, how you gonna get stronger? So, it's kind of just like it's what's present for me. I can't change it, so I just got to roll with it and try to strive from it.
Hey, I'm going to put up a clip. All right, why did they put your name? We've got the worst tech crew ever. All right, we got the it looks like the Celtics, the Bulls, the Lakers, the Warriors, the Heat, and the Raptors.
Yes, sir.
Are all of these are teams?
Yep, all of these are teams that I put
Wow.
into the league, and all teams have at least 8 to 10 players.
Okay, so 8 to 10 players. We've got 6 teams. That's a lot of people.
That's we still have a
man,
folder
that's
of
awesome.
people that not necessarily say that we turned around, but just couldn't cut it, couldn't make
Yeah,
it. So
yeah.
it's a lot. It's a lot of people. It's a lot of people. But the bigger the crowd or the audience, the more people we get to touch. So
Okay. My next question for you is, what have you learned about yourself? Anytime I meet someone that does something awesome, meaning that ATG wasn't here in 2020, all right, but it's here now. And it's something about people that think about something and then manifest it. I'm always intrigued with whenever I meet brothers and sisters that will think about something and then they actually do it. What have you learned about yourself during this journey?
That I'm not as put together as I thought I might
Okay,
be.
beautiful.
My patience is not as high as I thought.
Yeah.
It's a lot that I still got to learn.
Okay,
But it's great.
that's beautiful.
It's great. I mean, like I can't keep going back to what you said earlier, but it's a challenge. So I mean, just be up for it, because the biggest challenge for me is getting the guys from the community back into the community. That's why the choice of the Frederick Douglass Center was the choice, because it's right here in the heart of the community. It don't matter what side of town.
That's right.
where
That's the
you from,
center.
it don't, you know,
That's the center.
what's the Frederick Douglass Center.
You know, I happen to have worked there for about 20 years, and that is the epicenter. And anytime that we have a political forum or anything like that, we have it at the Doug. Man, my next question is, you're a fascinating person. This is my first time meeting you. I didn't know these people existed. All right. All right.
Thank you.
Self-care. When we open up, we have some guiding principles and we talk about self-care that allows us to show up for this next week. What are the things that you do to rebalance, especially after coaching, putting together a whole game and all the things that go well, all the things that should have went better? How do you come back to your square?
To be honest, for me, it sounds crazy,
Go ahead.
but it's to do it all over again.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I get to because I have a job at Libby Glass, and I work 7 days a week. I work a swing shift, so I'm working a different shift every week. But when I get to work on my off time at work, I put in my headphones, listen to any interviews that I need to hear, or just like any advice, this, that, and third. Maybe listen to an audible book and just keep working. That's all I know how to do, is just keep working.
That's awesome. Hey, would you be willing to come back at another time and maybe share some more updates on what Altogether is doing?
Definitely.
And if there's ever a game or anything that we need to add to our agenda of things that we think people need to know about, try to hit us up. All right.
Definitely. We have a game this Friday, April 7th. The Heat and the Warriors will be playing. That's a great matchup. So that'd be nice. That starts at 7:45. The doors open up at 7. So yep, that'll be a great match. We got a lot of stuff coming up after Easter. So yeah, just stay tuned.
Okay. All right. Hey, this is our brother Sim White from ATG, Altogether Semi-Pro Basketball League. Family, this is the CSRN podcast or weekend review. We will be right back.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call Digital Edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
So last year was hard. A curveball nobody saw coming was something terrifying and heartbreaking seemingly every day coming out of left field. Isolation, frustration, loss. A city in suspension, a ballpark made empty, and the roaring of cheers lived as only echoes on the wind. You know, someone once said, oh, somewhere in this favored land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. And somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. For there was no joy in Mudville. Well, we come from and work from the mud. Took that dirt and sand, melted down and built the glass. Even if we lose everything, we know how to make something special out of nothing. That is the heart of this place, this city, this people, this team. There's a beauty in the contradiction. That is why we cheer when rounding the diamond. That is why we cheer when waved home. After a year of silence, we are being waved home. That is the sound of joy after the storm fades. The lightning in the pitch, the thunder crack in the bat. The joy in Hinsville is back. Welcome home, Toledo.
All right. Well, thank you, Rashid. All right. Hey, family, we are back. This is the CSRN podcast, or our week in review. We've had Rhonda Sewell from TMA, Toledo Museum of Art. We had our brother Sim White from ATG, All Together Semi-Pro Basketball League. Check him out. We didn't ask him if he's on Facebook. Are you guys on Facebook? All right, check him out on Facebook. Like and follow the page and get those updates. Big things are happening at the Doug. They've got a game coming up on the 7th. I think it's at 7 o'clock. Yeah, all right, so I'll remember something. And the brother is organizing all of this, and he's 24. All right. I can't think what I was doing at 24. Probably 5 to 10, but that's a subject for another time. But it's true. Oh man, yeah. Now I'm sad. But anyway, hey, listen, as we always do with CSRN etiquette, the person to my left, if you could introduce yourself, what are you wearing, and who are we representing today?
My name is Fanique Davis. Most of the city know me as Envy. What I'm wearing, blessings, nothing but blessings.
Okay.
I can't say nothing else but blessings.
All right.
I'm here representing Envy's Inflatables at the moment. Where I'm hosting a Easter egg hunt this weekend.
Okay, now you just throw it out, Envy Inflatables. So when you say inflatables, what does that mean to ordinary people like me? All right, that's a big word for me.
Okay, we have bounce houses.
Okay.
I have a flat screen. It's an inflatable.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm like, hey, I got a flat screen too.
Yeah, no,
I got a 36-inch flat. Okay, all right.
It's
all right.
15 feet tall. But I have
well, okay. You 15-foot tall flat screen.
Yes.
All right, Jody, she got us beat.
We got
all
a
right.
little theater thing going on.
Oh, wow.
So you can host a movie night, a camping night. The last thing I held was a camping night in October. Anything, date night.
Okay.
Like that.
All right. I keep having to talk to our producer, organizer person. We do this thing called Black Lives Matter Theater, and we've got a screen now, Jody. We don't have to do what we were doing, which was putting a tarp on a scaffold. Man, we was in the trenches. All right,
You gotta
okay.
start somewhere, but
Oh,
I got
okay,
you
yeah.
covered
We
now,
started from the
okay?
bottom.
I got
Now
you
we're at
covered,
MV
yeah.
Inflatables.
I'm there.
Okay. You're the first person that I've met that had an inflatable business. How did that even come about? Who even thinks about inflatables? Obviously, somebody does. How did that happen, and what made you start?
Okay, so honestly, it was right in the middle of the pandemic.
Okay.
It was around this time actually. I was just scrolling through Facebook like normal, and
Right.
I seen probably at least 10 people asking for inflatables, bounce houses, water slides. The weather started to break, and the
Right.
kids were stuck in the house, so
Yeah.
everybody's trying to entertain their kids. So I seen it so many times. I'm like, nobody owns a bounce house
No,
business.
no.
So I just thought about it. I was like, let me Google and see how much they are. I Googled it. It's within my price range.
Oh, go ahead. I see you out there spending that money.
No,
Go ahead. All right.
I could get a couple of those going.
Okay.
So I ordered them right then and there. And then I advertised it. I honestly didn't think anybody was going to pay me any mind. It almost went viral. My posts asking, would anybody be able to use these? And so it went so far, I bought 2 water slides after that. So basically, I opened up I think it was June 10th,
Right.
2 years ago.
Okay.
And ever since I've been going.
Oh, wow.
I made that my subsidiary for. We were talking about my MV Red modeling and apparel. So I just made that my subsidiary for that.
Okay. So, and I'm looking at this on the fly. And Rashida gave me a flyer earlier of the Easter egg hunt.
Yes.
And that's coming up. That's
this Saturday.
Oh, this Saturday. This Saturday. Okay.
2:30.
All right. And can you read the logo?
My logo, MV Red modeling and apparel.
Okay. What is MV Red modeling and apparel?
Okay. Firstly, the name just came about. I have a friend. He just calls me MV Red. He has had a habit of calling me MV Red since he knew my name was MV. So I just was like, let's name it MV Red. MV Red Modeling and Apparel offers modeling portfolios.
Okay.
So for people that wants to just start their modeling. I'm also a photographer, so I'll take those photos. And I offer brand ambassador services.
Okay. The name Envy. All right. When I heard that, I'm like, okay, why would you name it Envy? It's almost like you're trying to tell us that we hating on you. All right. All right. I'm feeling some type of way. Right. I'm sensitive. All right. How did that happen? And how did people start calling you Envy Red? What's up with that?
All right. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you.
Okay. All right.
Candidate here.
Hey, Sim was honest. That's what he kept saying. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm like, okay.
I'm gonna be honest. I at about 21, I worked in the strip club.
Okay.
At this time, I was a bartender though.
Okay.
And I was looking for a name other than my regular name. It was kind of hard for people to pronounce, remember, things like that.
Right.
So I had a customer come in, and he just was like, they should call you Envy. Because I just feel the energy. People are hating on you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. And that's honestly what he said. And I was like, wow.
All right. Shout out to Doug. All right. I was messing with you, Doug. Because I was there. I wasn't there. But it's all good.
So,
my wife won't hear that part. All right. It's all good.
So yeah, it stuck with me. I was like, Envy.
That's awesome.
I could dig that. And ever since then, it's been going. And people call me it. So I let them call me it. And it's been a name. And, it's catchy. They've been remembering it better than Fanique.
Yeah.
So yeah. And it's also my Facebook name and my Instagram and Twitter.
Okay. So if you want to, all right. I'd ask him this, and I'm going to ask you this, being a business owner. And that's really taking a chance. I've never been a business owner. There's a lot of us that could, but we're like, man, I don't want to start something because I might fail. And I'm so glad that Sim started something and saw it through. What did you have? Did you have any mixed feelings and emotions about getting all of the? I mean, you initially bought two. Didn't you have some type of fear thing going on? Man, if I get these, I'm gonna just be throwing my clothes on them. All right.
For sure. I definitely had, because first, Envy Red Modeling Apparel came first.
Okay.
So I was definitely scared for that, but I'm so spontaneous. I was just like, just do it. Just do
Okay.
it. What can you lose?
Yeah.
So I just did it. And then with the bounce houses, I was just like, also, what can I lose? They're gonna go to use. So whether someone rents them or not, I was just gonna put them up for my kids. So I was definitely scared though. Like I was scared, like hopefully I'm not wasting my money, but
Right.
that's what made me get the two water slides. It went so far on social media, I was like, oh, I can do this. And it was just off a simple post. I was just like, can anybody use
Wow.
these bouncy houses? And so since then, I'm getting tagged in every status
That's
for
great.
the bounce house. So yeah, you just got to be sporadic. You just got to do it. It's like life is gonna life you.
Right.
So just do it.
All right. I know I'm running close on time, Jody, and I blame everything on Jody. All right, everything. If everything's going well, then all of us get to praise. But if something go wrong, hey, Jody. All right. Self-care. What do you do to rebalance? Because it sounds like you're doing a lot. You also talked about you've got the possibility of some Juneteenth programming.
Yes.
All right, what do you do to relax? What do you do to kick back? Sim, he says, I just put my earphones on and get to work. All right.
Exactly.
What is it that you do?
Almost the same. I listen to meditation.
Okay.
I pray, talk to God all the time.
Okay.
That's my best friend.
That's what's up.
So I talk to him. And I just always make sure I just take a moment, take a day, whatever. Once I start feeling like heavy on my shoulders, I take a step back. I spend at least one whole day to myself, whether it's I go take a walk. I take walks often, get lost in the woods.
That's good.
I listen to meditation, maybe listen to some gospel, or like I said, I talk to God every night. Or I write. We were talking about I write a little bit. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of writing, we had Rhonda Sewell here, and she spit a hot, I don't know, but it was a 16. I couldn't call it a 16, hot 8. All right. Jody does our 5 minutes of heat. That's how we close out here. Do you have anything memorized or anything on your phone that you want to share, or maybe come back at another time?
I could do that.
All right.
I could do that.
I
for
wanted
sure.
to give you an out. All right. Oh, also, I wanted to put the flyer up. All right. This is what's happening
this Saturday.
this
2:30,
Saturday.
809 Detroit Avenue. That's our church, Pentecostal church. We're part of the young adult and youth ministry.
Right. Okay.
So,
we had took that ticker out so that they could see your logo. So if you're watching this,
everybody's welcome. Bring your kids. We're gonna have free pizza and hot dogs for the kids. I also have vendors. We're gonna have crafts, yard games, and we have about over 3,000 Easter eggs to search for.
oh wow, 3,000?
Yeah.
Oh man.
we got a lot.
Eggs. Look, eggs are expensive. I might just come
No,
there.
not the regular eggs. The
Oh,
plastic.
oh.
The plastic
Okay.
eggs. No, we. Whew.
Look. What do they say? Tell me that you're old without telling me that you're old.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
I'm thinking of Easter
It's
eggs
okay.
are actual eggs. I'm like, man, Sim, we about to come up over there. 3,000 eggs.
No. 3,000 plastic eggs.
That's embarrassing.
And
but
we're
all
also
right.
taking more. If anybody would like to donate eggs, candy, any goodies, anything, or their time, we need volunteers as well. You guys can contact. My name is MV Davis on Facebook, and that's it.
All right. So, in closing, how do they reach MV Inflatables or MV Red? How do they find you on social media?
Facebook. I have MV Inflatables is on Facebook. It's MV and then Inflatables with an E. And then also for Envy Red Modeling and Apparel, you just go to my Facebook, Envy Davis. Also, I'm on Instagram, often_Envy.
Okay. All right. There you have it. Envy, Fanique, Envy, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
all right.
having me.
And would you come back at another time if you've got anything going on?
Oh, for sure.
That's awesome.
For sure. If you'll have me, I will come.
Well, all right. All right. See, I already talked about the strip club. All right. Hey, listen, this is the CSRN, our weekend review, weekly podcast. We will be right back.
If you can ride a bike without falling, then you're good to go. Bike Rides Matter, it's a community bike group. We get together for fun, fitness, and fellowship. We ride weekly. Right now, we got a Tuesday ride where we ride on the UT Trail. We do Saturday right here at Uptown Green. That's our glow roll Saturday night. It was something I was already doing with my daughter, just riding bikes, and we just decided it would be cool to add the community because we were just finding ways to make fun given the situation. Being that everything was closed down and options were limited, bike riding is one of those things you can do without any restrictions.
You get to make new friends and just like interact with people, especially during COVID. You still like have your mask on and stuff, but it's still good to like see people.
It's a cool way to stay fit. We talk while we riding, we got music while we riding. I've met quite a few new friends and new people. I made some real cool connections throughout the city. Take advantage of the time you have. Take advantage of this pandemic. I know it's a lot of restrictions, but you can be creative and find new ways to have fun, one of which is this right here.
All right, we are back. This is the CSRN podcast or our weekend review. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad. I use pronoun he and him. I'm here. Well, we saw Jody earlier read the mission statement and his Black Lives Matter moment. We're going to have him come back and talk about some of the shout outs and solutions, some of the things that we believe that you need to be checking out that's happening in our community right now. To my left, I've got a awesome young brother. Brother, could you introduce yourself? What are you wearing and what are you representing today?
Well, my name is Rashid Spencer, for those of you who don't know me. I representing a couple different things today.
Okay, let's get it.
I'm representing on behalf of Mount Sinai Youth and Young Adult Department. Also partnered with Envy Inflatables, her Easter egg hunt coming up this Saturday, as well as with Sim White and the ATG Semi-Pro Basketball.
Oh, it's a lot of stuff happening.
Yeah.
That you're a part of.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah,
man. You're like a young Jody. All right, because Jody's always got something going on. I'm like, how do y'all do it? All right.
Yes.
All right. I want to talk about the youth ministry. I want to put the graphic back up of the Easter egg hunt. Why do you think it's so important that young people be a part of the youth ministry?
What? Well, I'm going to sound old when I say this, but the Bible says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he shall not depart from it.
Okay.
What that means is, as long as you keep a child in the church and you teach them the right ways, they won't depart from what's right.
That's what's up.
So our main goal is to bring in the young people, the young adults, the children, make sure they're going on the right path, on the path of righteousness, and just making sure that everybody feels included as well. Because there's nothing like being at church but not feeling included in church. And that goes for the same with everyday life.
That's right.
So that's one of our main focuses right now.
Did we ask you what are you wearing?
Every time.
Man, Did you mention the shoes? Did you mention the color of
No,
the
I
man,
didn't. I
come
think I
on,
just jumped
man.
right into it.
Yeah. We gotta have like a, what is that called? A drip check,
A
bro.
drip check. Well,
Yes.
well, today's drip check is pretty strenuous because shout out all the way in Texas to my friend Nisi and
Okay.
Essence Beauty Body and Skincare for awesome skin.
All right.
I've been following that
All right,
regimen.
Nisi, go ahead. All
And
right.
then also just black top, um, pink turtleneck, black shoes, and pink shoes.
Man, look, family, if you were here, we'll take the graphic down. We'll bring it back up. Family, yes, man, come on. When he walked in the studio, I was gonna try to hate on him, but Sim was right here. But I was gonna say, man, I was gonna wear the same thing, all right. Probably in a size triple, double X, all right, but
Triple double X.
yeah. So back to the youth ministry. Who's the pastor at Mount Sinai? And why do you think it's important that the pastors create a space for young people in the church?
Right. So my pastor is Regina Chanel. She also happens to be the great auntie to me.
Okay.
The greatest great auntie. She's not my great. She's not old.
Okay. All right. I was wondering, like, man, she's great.
Yeah, no, she's my
All
great
right.
aunt, but she's also my pastor. She's wonderful. She's very powerful in the Lord.
That's awesome.
What really motivates me is her willingness to want to hear the young people and what we have to say, because a lot of times people are stuck in traditional ways on what should happen in church and what you shouldn't do. Everybody will tell you what you shouldn't do, but what are you supposed to do?
Right.
And that's what I really love about my church and my pastor. She really pushes us to do what's right. She really pushes us to be ourselves. She really pushes us to be active. Being active is something that I really love the most. So,
And that's awesome. And so we've got an Easter egg hunt
that's correct.
coming up.
That's
all
right.
right. Why do you think it's so important that everybody comes out? Emmy was on earlier talking about if you can donate. Why is it so important that everybody comes out, check this out, and support the youth ministry?
That's right. So, we've recently just started our youth ministry. So we're building.
Okay.
It takes a lot to build. And right now with this event, this will be our second event that we've had at the church.
Okay.
So we just ask that if you can help, that would be great. It just takes a lot. It's a lot of moving pieces. And in order for it to work, we have to all puzzle piece together in order to make it work. And whether it's, popping in and say, hey, I'll turn a couple hot dogs, that helps. So I'm just really appreciative of the team that I have, that we've built at the church, and I'm really looking forward to future events as well. And hopefully the community will come out and support, and not just this time, but for other times as well.
And I was going to tell Sim this earlier. Sometimes people want to wait to see if you're the real deal.
Right.
All right. You've had the second one. Most people are waiting on to see if you're going to have a fifth one, and then because we're bandwagon people.
Right.
All right. Hey, I'm gonna wait. All right. I'm not going to jump on the first time because now I'm putting up the chairs, and I want to see if if you got some longevity. All right. If you're going to be consistent, because nobody wants to waste your time, to do it and then it never happens again. So people are watching you. All right. People are watching Sin. People watching Envy. Are they going to have bouncy houses next year? She's like, yeah, if they paying.
People are watching, and I really believe that it's gonna go somewhere. I wouldn't have jumped on if I didn't think or believe that it was gonna go somewhere bigger than it's already at.
Right.
So, just as young as we are trying to build something that's memorable in the community, that's something that we can do continuously and for years to come. I really feel like longevity, man.
Right. And I'm gonna add this, and then we're gonna bring Jody back on. Lots of times the older people, and I think I qualify as one of the older people. We're talking about 60 and up. We only talk about the negative.
Right.
All right. When we talk about our young people, and young is really 35 and under.
Right.
Okay, 40 and under, Jody. All right. We only talk about the negative, and we do that on purpose because we don't have any solutions. All right. And if we do have have solutions, we're not going to tell you because you are our replacement. But we just want to get carried off the field when we really should be passing on that baton.
I remember you told me before, a lot of times people will withhold greatness
Yeah.
from the next generation just to fall out gracefully.
Right. Right.
You know, we have to also be mindful ourselves of who we call our mentors and who we call people that help us. Because sometimes they may show that they care, but do they really mean it?
Right.
You know,
Right.
do they really want to support you in your cause and your efforts?
Right. So there's sometimes we're going to have to go out on our own.
That's right.
And that's when I call research and development. And there's no negatives in that. We find out what worked well and we find out what could have worked better. There's nothing working good or bad because we're getting data. Because we're going to have a third Easter egg hunt. We're going to have a third Envy inflatable. All right. But we got to get the data somehow. But you're not going to get it sitting at home, not doing anything. You're not going to get it listening to some of us who really don't qualify to be elders. And some of y'all know who y'all are. You're not going to get anywhere waiting to get permission from us. When you know you can do it, you know it's something righteous, you know it's something good for the community, and you know you got the capacity to do it. However, you're waiting on the permission to do it. And we say you don't have to wait for permission to do good. You got Pastor Chanel. Should I say Pastor Chanel or?
I mean, whatever you're comfortable with.
Oh,
But
no,
I
no.
call her TT Pastor.
Okay, Sister TT Pastor. All right, hey, all right, hey, it's all good. All right, he qualified me. All right. So having people like that in your life that may have some experiences, but also want you to have some experiences to get some wins.
Right.
You know, that's important for our young people's development. A lot of us as older people, we have the buildings, we have a lot of the properties that you can actually train on so that when you get to a point where you feel like, hey, listen, I'm ready to go out on my own, at least you have some really good training space. All right. Before we go, once again, what's happening Saturday and what's the time? I'm going to put the flyer up and we can talk about some of the sponsors too.
So, yeah, Saturday, I'm looking at it a little different. Saturday, 2:30 to 6:30 at Mount Sinai Pentecostal Church of God, 809 Detroit Avenue, Toledo, Ohio. The hunt starts at 4 o'clock.
All right. And they're not real eggs. Right. Older people like
these are plastic eggs.
I'm gonna go steal some eggs.
These are plastic eggs.
I know I'm going to hell for that. All right, you'll steal the church's eggs. We a mess, Rashid. All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So yeah, a shout out to our sponsors. Starting off one with, if you see at the bottom, Mount Sinai Church of God, Adelash, that is eyelash company.
Okay.
By Shantara.
Oh,
so
Shantara.
If you want some lashes,
hey,
Envy Red and Envy's Inflatables and Spencer Prince, which happens to be my company. So,
okay.
Yep. And then also on Friday, we'll be having a basketball game at the Frederick Douglass Center. That's the ATG Semi-Pro Basketball League. I believe it starts at 7 o'clock. So make sure you come out for that. I don't know if you have a flyer for that, but make sure you come out and come and support.
All right. You know, let me see. Did they have a flyer?
That's Sim White. He's our CEO and league operator.
All right, man.
You know,
look like younger on that picture though. All right. All right. Okay. Damn, he's still in the studio. I'm talking smack. He's still here. Oh man, they didn't tell me that. Hey, listen. Can you come back at another time and talk about some of the things that you want us to promote?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I'm always around. Some people ask where I'm at on this show, and you call me, hey, Brother Rashid.
That's right.
People are calling, so
that's right.
I'll come on. You know, anytime there's something going on in the community, I'm always open to help. You know, as long as it's going right and in good faith.
All right, beautiful.
So yeah, for sure.
All right, family, this is the CSRN podcast, a weekend review. We will be right back.
Hey, I'm Dr. P. Not only am I a leadership coach, I'm a change agent and I'm a race scholar. I've used my study of race to dismantle systems and organizations, but I also use that to help you as the individual become a better leader for your families and for your community.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Oh, you just said run through all these real quick? No, we're not doing that, family. All right. Anyway, hey, family, this is CSRN, a weekend review podcast where we talk about the things that we've done last week, the things that we got going on right now, which is listening to Envy, Rashid, Rhonda, and Sim, all the dynamite guests today that came in and talk about things that they're doing for themselves. All right, not waiting for somebody to tell them what to do. They like, hey, look, let's get it. Jody, we've got just a couple of minutes left before they start flicking the lights on and off in the library. Our shout outs and concerns, some of the things that you've done last week and some of the things that you want to let everybody know what's up.
Well, spring is in the air, National Poetry Month, a whole bunch of stuff's going on. I'm going to try and update you as quickly as possibly as I can. Again, I wasn't in country over the weekend, but there are some things I know some people did and stuff like that.
That's kind of a flex, though, when you say that I wasn't in the country. I'm in Toledo. But it's cool. I need to stop hating so much. That's probably what I really need to do.
But so the last thing I was able to attend before was the Artist Mixer at Toll House, put on by the Arts Commission, which was done very good. I got to see some of my old friends I haven't seen since the pandemical revolution and all that stuff like that. People are beginning to come out the house with all of this artwork or depression or trauma that they have, and networking and stuff like that. Again, we have Rhonda in, who does the open mics and poetry at Toll House, along with Hunter Prey, as we saw on the opening day thing. So, yeah, if you've heard of Toll House, if you haven't, you should go over there because they have a lot of other shows besides poetry. They have blues, they have jazz, they have so much stuff going on. Check their website, get a membership if you can. But other than that, we had the artists and writers with CC. If you know her in the poetry world, she does Savannah's Kitchen and a whole bunch of other stuff. She's hopping around to every library. This one was the Saturday, April 1st. She was here, and then she'll be bouncing around. Check them out. Lifeline Community Dinner. They held their monthly event
You was at the last one.
I've been at just about every one of them,
All right.
except this one. I wasn't here again.
Okay.
I was in Canada. But that on the Sunday, April 2nd, there was the Strictly R&B Sip and Paint on 1215 Jackson. There was another event on the 1st that I participated in the movie called No Love. It was the Masquerade Ball. I don't think it was part of the movie this time, but I've seen a lot of pictures and everything going through my timelines. Y'all look beautiful. For the place that it's at, that's even more beautiful in the Old West End. We used to serve them, and now, you know, we went throwing shows.
Yeah.
But other than that, there was a whole bunch of other stuff. Again, that was the past stuff. I'm going to try and give you a rundown real quick before we go into 5 minutes of heat of everything that is coming up this week, because there's quite a bit of stuff. Again, spring has sprung. So baseball season has started. Most people know that I work downtown, so it is always busy. Next week is everybody's back home. There's also the hockey games and stuff. But Saturday, April 8th, there is Uncloistered Poetry Live with Joni McKintry, our poet laureate. That is at the Attic. That is 4 p.m. That is a free show. Sometimes poetry shows aren't free and stuff like that, like the one I'm about to mention next, which I'll be performing at this Thursday. Kay Renee is doing the, why is my things looking all weird now? Because I went to event invites. I'm not supposed to be doing event invites. I'm supposed to be doing upcoming. So Poetry and Soul at the Colors, Truth Art Lounge, Gallery, Newspaper, all that stuff. You know, Fletcher, hey Fletcher. Hey, Nicola, who is the new curator over there. And about every other 2 weeks, she does a show with either Kay Renee or Nate Hicks. So if you can come out, it's $10. Preferably, they would like you to pay, especially with Kay's show. You go through the Eventbrite. I just seen her post maybe 6 hours ago. There's a couple of tickets left. Open mic list is filling up very quickly. This Friday at 5 p.m., there's the National Minority Health Month Fair.
Okay.
Which I do normally every year. I might be there this year as one of the guests and stuff, but I'm not sure. So shout out to Sonia Ramel, who is a actual farmer now, not just a small garden. You know, people say small gardens. I told her she had a farm. We do have other farms and community gardens around the city, but she put in the work to make sure she is a USDA farm.
Okay, go ahead, Sonia.
So, and also Friday at 9 p.m., Jackie McNown. You might see some of her jewelry on my neck and stuff like that. We've done a lot of shows together. She is having a solo exhibit at Jose Martinez Memorial Gallery. Last time I was there, we had Yvette there. So this is her showcase coming up. Brandon Littlebridge over at East River Gallery. He is having his closing ceremony before they come back to another one this Saturday. Speaking of the Frederick Douglass Center at 7 p.m., there is Kingdom Connect. They also have an open mic show where they do everything. Actually, one of my friends, Urban Legend, he's coming down from Detroit. Hopefully, I'll be able to make in everything in there. But, you know, it's baseball, employees, all that stuff. I got 50 million hats and everything. So if I can, I would definitely love to be over there. I think their open mic list is closed, though. So, you know, if I come, I might sneak in and all that good stuff. But that is kind of the rundown until our next show of things that I can see.
All right.
We'll be back before the 20th. So I guess we are going to get into 5 minutes of heat. Of course, this is National Poetry Month.
Right. And one of the things that we didn't do, we needed to do was our Nguzu Saba Kwanzaa word of the day. And today's word is Kumba. That means creativity. To do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. So we're going to shift to 5 minutes of heat. I got a couple of things that we forgot to drop, but let's do it right after 5 minutes of heat.
Sure, you can go ahead.
Oh
my. Oh, while you thinking of dropping of them, we got two pieces to pick from. We can either do cerebral or open doors.
I thought we was going to do the Trump one. But okay, all right.
He's getting his just desserts right now.
All right. Open doors.
Open doors, okay.
Open doors. Hey, I wanted to remind everybody, you saw that Final Call commercial. We just got the new edition out, A World Engulfed in Chaos. You need to check that out. And you can find that at Bobby Howard's. We're going to have the new edition at Bobby Howard's, Yummies, Powell's Beauty Supply, and your community market, which is located on Pulaski in Nebraska. Today is the 13th day of Ramadan, and Ramadan is the holy month for the Muslims. And during that month, there's fasting and prayer, no food or water from sun up. When the sun goes down, which is about 8 o'clock today, about 20 minutes. I'm smashing, so it is what it is. Also, I wanted to acknowledge This Week in Toledo. We didn't read any articles, but go ahead, log on to Facebook, Sean Nestor's This Week in Toledo. All of the stories that CSRN would talk about if we could write. All right. So good look for that. Good looking. And also, I wanted to shout out our sister, Angel Reese of LSU. All right. You can't see me. No, you can't see me. And I love that sister. I love what she stands for. And we with that. If you want to support CSRN, please subscribe, like, share our Facebook page. Share our YouTube account. That's just go to YouTube, put in Community Solidarity, just that, and then it'll drop down and you'll get that. We're trying to get up to 100 subscribers. It may not sound like much to you, but it's a lot to us. We may already be there.
Yeah, we may be there.
All right, if you want to support us, you can support us
keep
via
liking.
Right, support us via Cash App CSRN, #CSRN 419, PayPal CSRN 419. Follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, listen to us on Spotify, watch us on YouTube, and tweet us on Twitter. All right, I think I covered it all. We do still have the Black Lives Matter signs, defund the police signs. We're still on that.
We may have some shirts.
We may have, well, not the one I'm wearing, but we may have a few shirts. I got a couple mediums left. Maybe we get that for Rashid. He can fit that. It still has some space. He still has some space. All right.
Well, that's good. At least we got some levity before this
right.
poem drops.
That's right.
But again, I try not to share too much on the page because I like my career built around independency and stuff like that. But
I got you.
If you haven't been, just like when I went to the Grand Canyon, you need to see the falls in person. Watching people's videos, go out there and live life, touch stuff. Not everything, but go out there and live life. We're supposed to be migratory species. You're not supposed to stay on the same block that you don't even own, that you claim and kill people over. Go travel the world. Find some people who don't speak your language or come where you came from and learn something new. So that's my happy Buddhist moment of the day.
That was bars right there. All right. Do we snap now? All right. That's what's
maybe
up.
After this one. This is a 1660 piece. So this piece is called Open Doors. You will find this in book, hopefully 14. Unless somebody asks me for another anthology piece, because I'm personally on 10 published, 5 myself, 5 anthologies, and then after I did them and the Butterfly book released and all that, I got 4 more submissions that people wanted me to do. And as it gets closer to the summer, people might ask for more. So my next book is going to be number 14.
Okay.
Hopefully, unless somebody asks us some. So, Open Doors. Let's begin. Peace. I keep knocking on doors I've already unlocked, trying to prove to people that I'm not here to impress you. I just walked out of my door, found something to be involved in that benefits people I don't know, which is something most people don't do. Putting on multiple layers of clothes and traveling around with my duffel bag like I'm still homeless, and still people have issues. While they're driving their cars, paying their mortgage or rent, taking out another loan to visit their sneaky links or sneak diss somebody on social media because they commented on the post that you asked a public question to the masses of internet dwellers and are mad because I tell people, I love you. Some days, I just get tired of constantly repeating myself to end up with the same answer of, I don't understand or can't comprehend what you're telling me because it doesn't look like the same bioengineered genetic mass of cloned comments that mean nothing past the scripted reaction. But I got all these followers, and look at the people who comment. while your post reads, sponsored, recaptioned, copied, post edited down from where it doesn't have the same value of the page that it came from, out of someone's life who actually lived it. So I should clap and applaud you for doing minimal effort for maximum return, reacting to reactions from posts that were made decades ago, or through some shell account that doesn't even exist. And the original creator gets no credit for you laughing at their mistakes in their life. But I should be happy because now everyone gets a gold star. Some payout from a corporation that makes billions, yes, billions off of your views. And now you pay extra taxes to make sure you exist. So I keep knocking on those doors that I've already unlocked, hoping that someone in the room will just notice me. Because when I opened the door the first time, they just looked at me and stared at me like I'm some unknown virus that had to be contained or controlled, because if I ever got out to reach the masses, their walls would come crumbling down in peace.
And as always, we snap our fingers. Want to thank you, Jody, for that. That's how we close out. We don't close out with the Robert's Rules stuff and slam a gavel.
I only do that when I gotta do my elected official stuff. I got a presidency coming up, so.
All right. Okay. All right. Hey, listen, family. We thank you for everybody that was in the chat, that shared with us, everyone that watched this. And as always, all lives can't matter until what?
Black lives matter.
And Black lives can't matter until
all Black lives matter.
justice or else.
Yeah.
Peace.